In Greek tradition, Demeter is the second child of the Titans, Rhea and Cronus, and sister to Hestia, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. Like her other siblings, except Zeus, she was swallowed by her father as an infant and rescued by Zeus. She became the mother of Persephone, a fertility goddess and resurrection deity. One of the most notable Homeric hymns, the Homeric hymn to Demeter, tells the story of Persephone's abduction by Hades and Demeter's search for her. When Hades, the king of the underworld, wished to make Persephone his wife, he abducted her from a field while she was picking flowers, with Zeus' leave. Demeter searched everywhere to find her missing daughter to no avail, until she was informed that Hades had taken her to the underworld. In response, Demeter neglected her duties as goddess of agriculture, plunging the earth into a deadly famine where nothing would grow, causing mortals to die. Zeus ordered Hades to return Persephone to her mother to avert the disaster. However, because Persephone had eaten food from the underworld, she could not stay with Demeter forever but had to divide the year between her mother and her husband, explaining the seasonal cycle. As Demeter does not let plants grow while Persephone is gone, her cult titles include Ceto, Sheo of the grain, as the giver of food or grain, and Thes, giver of customs or legislator, in association with the secret female lonely festival called the Thes. Though Demeter is often described simply as the goddess of the harvest, she presided also over the sacred law and the cycle of life and death. She and Persephone were the central figures of the Eleusinian mysteries, which promised the initiated a happy afterlife. This religious tradition was based on ancient agrarian cults of agricultural communities and predated the Olympian pantheon, probably having its roots in the Mycenaean period, c. 1400 to 1200 BC. Demeter was often considered to be the same figure as the Anatolian goddess Cybele, and she was identified with the Roman goddess Ceres. Etymology: Demeter may appear in Linear A as Demate on 3 documents, all 3 dedicated to religious situations, and all 3 bearing just the name. It is unlikely that Demeter appears as Demate in a Linear B inscription. The word Demate probably refers to households. On the other hand, C-2- Po-T- Ni- Ja Potnia, of the grain, is regarded as referring to her Bronze Age predecessor or to one of her epithets. Demeter's character as mother goddess is identified in the second element of her name. Meter derived from Proto-Teuto-European tar. In antiquity, different explanations were already proffered for the first element of her name. It is possible that Da, a word which corresponds to G in Attic, is the Doric form of Darth, the old name of the Chthonic earth goddess, and that Demeter is mother. Liddell and Scott find this improbable, and Beeks writes, "There is no indication that Da means earth, although it has also been assumed in the name of Poseidon, found in the Linear B inscription E-Ni-Ni-D-Day-O-Ni, Earthshaker." John Chadwick also argues that the D element in the name of Demeter is not so simply equated with earth. West has proposed that the word Demeter, initially Demeter, could be a borrowing from an Illyrian deity attested in the Messipic goddess Demetra, with a form D attached to Matura, akin to the Illyrian god Dapet. The lesbian form D may simply reflect a different colloquial pronunciation of the non-Greek name. Another theory suggests that the element D might be connected with Do, an epithet of Demeter, and it could derive from the Cretan word D. Ionic Zaya, variously identified with emmer spelt rye or other grains by modern scholars, so that she is the mother and the giver of food generally. This view is shared by British scholar Jane Ellen Harrison, who suggests that name means grain mother instead of earth mother. An alternative Proto-Indo-European etymology comes through Patenya and where Dea represents a derivative of pi*dem, and Demeter is mother of the house. RSP Beeks rejects a Greek interpretation, but not necessarily an Indo-European one. Iconography: Demeter on a Diedrichim, from Paros Island, struck at the Demeter was frequently associated with images of the harvest, including flowers, fruit, and grain. She was also sometimes pictured with her daughter However, Demeter is not generally portrayed with any of her consorts. The exception is the youth of Crete, who lay with her in a thrice-plowed field and was killed afterward by a jealous Zeus with a thunderbolt. Demeter is assigned the zodiac constellation, Virgo, the Virgin, by Marcus Manilius in his 1st-century Roman work. In art, the constellation Virgo holds a sheaf of wheat in her hand and sits beside constellation Leo the lion. In Arcadia, she was known as Black Demeter. She was said to have taken the form of a mare to escape the pursuit of her younger brother, Poseidon. and having been raped by him despite her disguise, she dressed all in black and retreated into a cave to mourn and to purify herself. She was consequently depicted with the head of a horse in this region. A sculpture of the Black Demeter was made by Thanks for watching, follow for more.